In this video, I'm going to be walking you through the two different types of kaleidoscopes we offer and what comes in a kit. So the first style, and this one is already painted and completed, is an image disc style. And so you're able to put objects in the disc and rotate it around to change your kaleidoscope view. So all kits now come with a refillable image disc, so you can unscrew this little piece here, take the disc off, open it, and change the objects inside. And it does also come with a stand. So that's the first version. The second version this is new. So this is a wand style kaleidoscope. So it will come with an empty glitter wand that you can then fill with objects. And it just has a different style end piece. All of the patterns offered are the same. And this is just one of the sort of swirl patterns, and this one's unfinished. So this is just how it would look if you assemble it and don't add any paint or glitter or anything to the design. And again, it comes with the same style stand. So the whole front half is completely the same for both styles. The mirror systems, you have two options. So this one will have a narrower type of mirror that allows you to see the mandala style of the glitter wand. And then this one, you have both options. You could choose to do mandala style, or you could do a 3-mirror system, which you might be able to kind of see in there, allows you to get a more typical kaleidoscope image. So here's the two styles. Now let's actually look at what a kit looks like and what comes in your kit. So I'm gonna move these out of the way, and I'm gonna bring over the kit. So when you open a kit, you'll get something that looks like this. It'll probably be full of bubble wrap as well, but you're going to have I call them slats, but these are the sides of the kaleidoscope here. They're gonna be rubber banded together. You're also gonna have a little wrapped up section here. This is the stand, which is comprised of the two arm pieces and the base. And then you'll also have the front of the kaleidoscope, and this is gonna look a little bit different now because I've designed them so that you no longer need glue, but this is an old kit, so that's why I'm showing you that. You'll also have a clear image disc and then another little piece here that connects everything, and I'm going to show that in a moment. You'll also have whatever your image end cap piece is. So this is obviously the disc style. If you have a wand style, it'll be a little bit different. You'll have 3 front surface mirrors, and these are special mirrors for kaleidoscopes. And what's really unique about these, let's actually unwrap this to take a look. And they'll be saran wrapped with the little foam pieces, is that a front surface mirror has the mirror coating on the front of the glass, or in this case, the acrylic. And that's gonna give you a much sharper, much more like engaging and crisp image in your kaleidoscope. I will typically mark the non-front surface side with an X, and there is still peeling plastic on this that you do need to take off. If you try to tape them together without removing the plastic's gonna start to peel up and they're gonna slide around. Now, the way you can tell the front surface mirror, if you don't see the glue mark or if you peel it and then you can't see it, is to take something like a pen, and I don't have a pen in my hand, but I have this, and sort of set it against the mirror. And if you can see that, there's no gap between the image reflection and the surface. Now on this side, it's probably a little hard to see because you could technically use both sides and you're not gonna have it's not gonna look bad. But there's a little bit of a gap between the reflection. So that's how you check if you've peeled them and gotten confused. I do recommend peeling the front surface side at the very last second because it is easy to scratch. So you don't wanna unpeel them and then just let them sit around on your desk. You wanna wait till you're actually assembling the mirror assembly before you do that. A completed mirror assembly looks a bit like this, and the printed blog will show you a lot more. You can see the foams just go on to they go around it, they surround it, and they hold it in place so that it doesn't rattle around inside the kaleidoscope. And there's tons of videos and tutorials on how to assemble this. Essentially, you're just gonna add a little bit of tape, move them into a circle. Right before you seal them up, peel them off, and then you add these over top and then kind of sit wherever you want. If you end up tearing one of these, don't panic. You can just kind of glue it. You won't see it inside the kaleidoscope. I do offer replacement parts, but you're never going to see it, so you might as well just kind of glue it in place. It's not going to cause any issues. And so here we see some of our foams. You're also going to have washi tape in here that you can use to tape up your kaleidoscope mirror. And then you should receive also a little sanding block, and it has 2 different grits on it, a fine grit and a rougher grit, a plastic razor blade, and then some form of glue. And I think I'm swapping to this glue here. It's nice for wood. It's a little easier to clean up, and it's really easy to use. You may not even really need any of this. I've designed the kit so that it will go together without glue. If you want a much more secure bond, you can add a little bit, but you don't have to. And then you're gonna have this little tray here, and I'm gonna show you what that does. So let's move all of this out of the way. And your tray allows you to place all your kaleidoscope slats together so that you can paint them. So if you wanted to sort of paint a design that moved across the surface, or let's say before you peel the paper on top, you want to spray paint them so that the actual engraved part is a different color, like gold or something, you can do that. But you'll have to remember that all of these are going to come with a paper masking on the surface, and that's going to look like this. So here we have another design here. You can see this one looks a little burnt. It's not actually burnt. They are laser cut, but there is a masking on the surface here that you have to peel off. If you do not peel this off and you try to assemble your kit, you're going to probably break the collars. So you need to make sure before you're actually assembling that you at least peel these parts here. So that's what this razor blade's for. My first step is usually to try and get just the corner up, and it's a little easier when I can put it closer to my face here. But let's see. So you should be able to get that corner up. And once you get it started, it's relatively easy. So in this case, I could peel as much as I can like that. And then I'm going to take my razor blade, and let's sort of just zoom in here and see if we can look at that a little closer. And I'm just going to run the razor blade just gently across the surface, and it's going to take all those tiny little details off. Do not try to do that one by one. You will spend 700 years doing it. The razor blade is where it's at. So just a combination of peeling and running the razor blade gently across. And I do recommend the plastic, not a metal razor blade, because you might scratch up your wood. And you're going to be basically done there. And then all you'd have to do is just brush that off, and you're done. So that's peeled, but do remember there's usually a coating on the back side. I've already peeled this one. But you want to make sure you peel both sides so that these pieces will fit into our collar. So let's say we've painted and decorated these. Here is our kit. Let's zoom back out a little bit here. And we're ready to assemble. Let's take a look at some of the other parts in our kit. So this is the unwrapped and already peeled stand and front pieces here. So you'll notice here is the front piece. This one doesn't have a engraved design on it, but just so you can see it. You're going to have a clear piece here, and you have to peel that. So it has protective coating on that as well. And then you're going to have a little open collar. And this is the order it would go in. This one, then the clear, then this piece. And all you have to do is insert these into the slots. And the way I would typically do that is go one at a time. It should be a little bit tight. Sometimes it's a little tighter, sometimes it's a little looser. It just depends. Every piece of wood is a little bit different, but if you're just gentle and you work that in without trying to like really force it, it's gonna go in, and it's gonna be a tight enough fit that it's not gonna fall off. So I go one at a time, and usually I would do all of these, then do the next layer, and you're just gonna have to gently work it. Take your time here, there's no need to rush. If you do happen to kind of crack a little piece there, you can add a little bit of glue, or you can contact me for replacement pieces. But there you go. So that is what you're going to get in the end. You're going to complete that by inserting all of your different slats in the order that you want. And it's a little bit harder if they're already together to try and put the slots in, but you can do it. Just be patient, and you'll get that in there. And if you find it's too tight, you're really struggling, or one of them just seems a little bit thick, you can just gently sand the end piece there. So if you find you're having a little bit of trouble, you can just gently sand that and thin it out. And then same thing, if you find you have a little bit of char mark somewhere, so like a little bit of the laser flash ended up on the wood, you can just gently sand with the sanding block, and you're gonna take that off. So I think we have a good example here, which is why I peeled this one. We can gently take this apart, or how about we not waste time doing that? You can just sort of sand that until it comes off. And you can see it's starting to disappear right there. So that's what the sanding block's for. But essentially you would assemble this whole first part. And let's see if I can do that quickly. And then once you've done that, you're going to assemble your mirrors. You're gonna place them inside, and then you're gonna add your end cap. So let me pause really quick. We're going to speed this up, and you're gonna see me assemble the whole piece here, and then we're gonna move on to the next step. All right, so you can see I have now reset and put this in here. I went and got one of the actual engraved end plates so you can see it. And it's very simple. It's just a little sandwich of end plate, clear lens, and then the ring. And if you find that there's areas that don't feel tight enough to you, you can add a little bit of glue, but once it's all together, you're not really gonna usually have an issue. You can see it's not gonna fall off or anything like that. And the little clear end plate just prevents dust from getting inside. You wanna be careful when you put it on that you don't get a ton of fingerprints because it is a little bit hard to clean once it's already in. So from here, there's just a couple more steps. I'm gonna quickly show you the stand because it's the easiest part. All you gotta do is stick these in the slot, and that is it. Your stand is basically done. You can paint before or after assembling. Finished. So I'm gonna set that off to the side, and let's talk really quickly about the mirrors. So the mirrors, it's a little hard to show on camera assembling them, but essentially you're just going to lay them all out. And I have another set here. And remember, the X is the bad side, or not so much the bad side, but it's the incorrect side. You're gonna lay them out with just a little bit of a gap. You're gonna add a strip of tape behind it until you have the washi tape for that. And then you're just gonna gently fold them up and seal it closed. Now, right once you're ready to fold them up, once you've reached the stage where you tested it, you know they're gonna fold properly, everything's good, peel off your protective coating, and then without getting fingerprints on the inside, you're gonna wanna close it up and seal it. So very, very simple. You can experiment and practice with that a little bit. Once you're done, I usually add a little reinforcing loop of tape, as you can see here. I put individual strips between for this one. You're then gonna take your little foam pieces and you're gonna gently stretch them and slide them on. And they might be a little bit tight, so just take your time, but remember, if you snap it at one of the corners, because you can see there's not a lot of space there, just add a little dab of glue or even a little bit of tape. They're just gonna keep it from shaking around. Once you've completed that, you can actually place your mirrors inside your assembly, like this. And you can see, oops, I slipped my piece off. I'm gonna slide that back out. These ones are a little looser because I've used these ones a lot for demos. And once I get that in there, you can see the wood has a little bit of flex to it. So we're gonna work that around. Perfect. You're gonna see that that's gonna hold it nice and tight. The mirrors are not gonna rattle around inside, and it helps sort of build the shape of the kaleidoscope. And from here, now it's time to assemble our end pieces. And there's two options for that. So I'm gonna set this one aside for a moment. And this is the option for the disc. You're going to get a refillable disc, and it's gonna have little holes in it. You can open and close it. It's got kind of a nice lid fit there. It's not impervious if you dropped it like this, but it's got a nice little fit. So you can refill it. You're gonna receive another set of rings, and these ones are different because they have a little tab, and you're gonna have another clear dust cover, I guess I should say. And the order that these go in are this one, then this one, and then this one. And the way that works is we're gonna unscrew our binding post, slide it through here, and then this one would just sort of fit over that. And this little piece holds the binding post in once you assemble it like that, so that you don't need to glue this in and have the risk of it falling off and dropping into the kaleidoscope. So once again, it's a little sandwich of wood ring, clear, and wood ring. So the way I would probably do this is put them on in the order that I mentioned. So once you have the kaleidoscope assembled, it's a little bit harder to get these end pieces on, but not particularly. Just gently work your way around, just barely pressing the ends in so you can get them all aligned with the holes. And you'll see them almost there. And then once they're all aligned, you should be able to gently work this down onto the kaleidoscope. Okay, so my camera cut out for just a second, but I've gently pressed this down. And the last consideration before you apply your clear piece is just to make sure that this tab here is not blocking your mirrors. So you might want to gently rotate them around. I'm not touching the insides of the mirrors, just the outside, just to make sure that's not going to block one of the points of your mirrors. You're then going to peel your clear piece, taking care not to get fingerprints on the inside. You can wipe off ones out here, but you're going to struggle if you get them on the inside. And then using the same technique, just gently work it around, getting it aligned to each part as you go. It might take you a couple rounds to get it to slide on, but it shouldn't take a ton of force, and you want to do it evenly all the way around so you don't crack this lens piece. Got a little thing there. And then once we have that nice and tight, we can take our binding post and set it right in this little piece here, and then take our end cap, slide it over top, and then do the exact same thing. We're just going to work that around all the way for a nice tight fit. And that'll be your end piece. So that's going to be nice and tight. You shouldn't have to take it apart at this point. And you notice I haven't used any glue. It's not going to fall apart. I'm not going to like lose my parts here. If you do need to take the end cap off for any reason, say you get a piece of dirt on the inside, or you want to replace your mirrors because they're crooked, I suggest taking off all of the parts, not just one by one, so you can gently try to work off this whole piece. So it takes a little bit of energy, but you can gently pry it back off. Or you can do the front side. Sometimes the front's a little easier to get off than the back, and you can still access your mirrors, blow it out with an air compressor or something like that if you get dust in it. But that's essentially that part right there. Now, to finalize your kaleidoscope, all you're going to need to do is slide your image disc on through the two holes, and using this little screw, you're going to seal it on there. And you can just do this by hand. You don't actually even need a screwdriver for it. But before we do that, we actually want to fill our image disc. So I'm going to show you some objects you can put in there. And my first tip is, after opening it, add a little piece of the washi tape just to cover that hole when you're filling it. So if you have lots of tiny beads for any reason, they don't just like fall everywhere when you try to lift it up. Now, I have a whole bunch of different little pieces of flower glass. I can't say it in Italian. I've got some small beads here that are just from Hobby Lobby or Michael's. And you can add about as much filler or as little as you want. And then what's nice about these bigger image discs that are refillable, you can put some thicker objects in there. So we're just gonna drop all of that in, close it up, and then when I'm actually ready to assemble, I'm going to gently peel the tape. So that prevented all the beads from coming flying out there. And you're just gonna have to gently work this guy through, trying to not hit any of the beads as you go. So you may have to rotate it, slide it around, or do it vertically. That often helps. And then from here, we're just gonna screw in this little end screw. And you're done. And you're able to unscrew that at any time. I think I got it all the way there. Perfect. So we have that, and then you can look through this end. Let's see if it'll let you see. Try and get it to focus there. And you should see a really nice changing kaleidoscope image inside there. So I know it's not really letting you look at it, but hopefully that gives you an idea of how to do that one. Now, if you're not doing this end piece, let's so let's remove that. Let's talk about the glitter wand version. So once again, very easy to remove this. Just gonna unscrew it, take your image disc off, and set it aside. Now, the other set is gonna come with a different set of end pieces here. So let's look at those. You're also gonna find that you have slightly different mirrors and that they're narrower and that there's a little velvet piece of mat board instead of 3 mirrors. You wanna put the velvet mat board at the bottom facing in, and that's gonna give you 2 mirror design that's going to reflect against the black. It's gonna be really pretty. It's gonna give you a mandala-like effect. You're also gonna have a little bit of this glycerin, and then you're gonna have this glitter wand. So for the glitter wand, I recommend gluing in one of the end caps if you can. You do not have to do that, but I recommend getting a little bit of either using hot glue, or you can use the clear glue that comes with the kit, but it's just gonna take a while to dry. And then filling this up with your glitter and your beads, regular water, and then about 10 drops of this glycerin. You could add all of it, you could add less. It's not 100% necessary. It just helps the glitter to flow better when it's added to the water. And then once you're done, seal this up and you'll set that aside. And I'm not going to actually show filling that because it takes a little while for the glitter to actually settle. So let's actually look at this kit here, and you can see it's got like a nice flow to it. And this is my finished one here. So I'm gonna remove this little gasket ring, and these are of course going to come with your kit, but they're like a number 10 like plumbing gasket. So if you break one after a lot of use, you can always pick those up for like basically nothing at the hardware store. And you can see there is my finished glitter wand. With this kit, you can also use a regular glitter wand that you may already have or that you pick up from a store somewhere, and that will also fit and work in the Kaleidoscope kit. So you can use glitter wands you already have, or you can use the one in the kit. Now you'll notice this end set is a little bit different than this one, but it's basically the same concept. You have 2, I call these collars, but you have 2 of these collars. You do the first one, you're then going to peel and use your clear piece as the second one, and then you're going to put the third one. And then on these little end pieces, all you're gonna do is stick in these little keys. That's what I've been calling them. I don't know if that's what they really are. And that's gonna basically finish your kit. So here you can see the narrower mirrors. And this is important because we wanna make sure the mirrors capture the entire image of our kaleidoscope. So if we had wider mirrors, we're gonna see like a lot of space around the design. So that's why you have the wider mirror, and you can see the little mat board at the bottom. So that's the difference between the 2 kits. Essentially, the bottom half of the kaleidoscope is completely the same. This one doesn't have the clear piece because it's an older one. But you can see it's going to have these 3 layers, your slats in any design, and then your 2 different end styles. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what the kits will look like. So I'm going to quickly slide on my rings here so you can see both assembled. And then I'll just give you a last few tips. So a few tips for this one. Definitely go with transparent glitters when you can. I think they reflect the light better than the really opaque ones. And I would say the same of the kits. The more light that passes through, the better your design is going to look. So let's take this guy off. You can just roll these. We're gonna slide on our standard kaleidoscope wand, and we'll see if it'll let you see inside. So hopefully you can kind of get a sense of that. So you can see there's like a mandala-like design with that, and you can actually twist this and then flip the kaleidoscope to get some of the imagery moving in there. So that one's got a really nice effect as well. And your stands are the same. Just slide this one back on. Shift those things here. Find my little end screw. And these kits, depending on sort of how it fits, they will come with a little clear spacer. So here's your spacer. You can peel that off and it will be clear. And you can add that either before or after the kaleidoscope. If you find there's too much wobbling or play, it'll make it a little bit tighter. But you want to make sure you have enough, it's loose enough that you can actually turn the kaleidoscope disc. So that's kind of the reason it's optional in there. And then you can paint these before or after you assemble them. Some people like to use the little tray, as I showed earlier, and paint them like this. Some people prefer to see sort of the final design and then just paint it directly. And you can definitely do that. Just be careful not to get paint in on your images there. So let's see, it looks like it's kind of showing you a little bit of what you'll get with that kit. So really, really fun, colorful design there. And then I'll switch it all the way. So that is it. These are your 2 assembled kaleidoscopes from the different kit styles. I hope you will enjoy them. If you have any questions or if you have issues with parts or assembly, just let me know and I will get you sorted out. So thank you.